Welcome back to Bad Attitude C-10. Today we're going to be installing our front and rear line lock, and I'm going to get the feed line from the lower portion of the rear line lock to the back portion of the frame. In addition, I'm going to show y'all a couple cool tools that I use that a lot of people don't have, some people know about, a lot of people might not have even heard of them. But one's called a thread setter, and the other one is a knife to cut the woven braid that you do with your wire loom. A lot of people don't like the woven stuff because when you cut it, it starts fraying. Well, they have an electric blade that's kind of like a freaking wood burning tool, but instead it's got a blade on it. It gets hot and you can just cut through it, and at the same time it melts the woven stuff together to where it does not come apart. So let's get to it. All right guys, we're back. Now I apologize for the lighting again. I got as many lights lighting this up. If you see the shadowing, it's coming from every direction. I'm trying to keep it to where everything can be seen. Hopefully that's working okay. So before we put this one, we need to figure out how it's going to be plumbed and everything on the rear. I went on ahead and threw the rear line in, and I think I got this first one figured out. Before we get over there, I want to go ahead and take care of the little things on the solenoid, like the wiring and stuff, because once I mount it, I don't have to take it off to do it, and I don't want to have to fight the tire and everything to try to take care of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get some braided wire loom. And if you guys do not have any of this, I love it. I like it a lot. So we're going to start by getting some of it, and then I'm going to show you a couple of things that we do a little bit different. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and take my wires and start it into this loom to be sure that, yep, that is going to be a good snug fit, so I got the right size. So now I'm going to go ahead and stretch it, and I'm going to stop about an inch, well, more like an inch and a half, 2 inches or so away, and that's where we're going to make our cut. Now, one cool thing, whenever you do these, we'll need a piece of metal for this, so instead of cutting these with scissors and then having the braid prey on you and everything, they actually make this handy little tool. And it looks just like a wood burner, but it's got a blade in it now. And preferably, if I was y'all, I would put a piece of metal or something down instead of doing this on a plastic table. So then there we go. Yeah, I'm just pushing this other end to keep it from melting to each other. And we'll put this back over here. Move our trusty little cutting table away. So now we'll go ahead and take this, and whenever you're trying to slide the loom on, keep in mind if you're pushing on it, it's kind of like Chinese handcuffs. So the best thing to do is push in the back and then just let the front go. We're going to put a little bit of shrink wrap on it. But one thing I'm going to do different, guys, is since this is going to be our line lock for the rear, we're going to label it LL rear with a label maker. And then instead of using regular black shrink wrap on it, I have some of this stuff right here that is marine grade. It's got a glue sealer in it, and it's clear. So what we're going to do, I don't have any wires that are printed that say line lock rear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one. So got this little bitty brother, it's a brother, yeah, it's a brother printer. So I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to type in LL rear. Then I'm going to hit print. Once it prints, I'm going to cut it, pop it out. And then they always give you more than you need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to go ahead and take a pair of scissors here, and I'm going to cut it closer to my print. And this is not my idea. I actually got it from another YouTuber, and you can find him, and he is also a C-10 guy, and it's called Rusty Wrenches. I'll put him in the description below. He's a good guy. He's got a lot of good videos up on C-10s. Y'all give him a shout. Check him out. So, now we have, I know there's no way y'all are going to be able to see that real good. I'll do it again when I get it on the wire. And be careful when you get to the end that has it, and pull it kind of tight so it doesn't fold the label over. So that's what we have. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. I hope you can. Now I'm going to go ahead and let the shrink wrap do its job. And I find that if you keep this too long, it will actually make your print kind of smudge. So I usually put mine on medium heat setting. If you put it on high, you just stay further away from it and just work it back and forth. I know I got it on there a little bit crooked, but you get the spill. LL rear. There we have it. Line lock rear. Line lock rear. And it's all sealed, and instead of having the wires just running around all loose, now we have that. I think it's a lot cleaner and it's pretty cool. So again, clear, shrink wrap, and a label maker. You can label any lines you want. I then stole my sending unit off my master cylinder, because if I have my sending unit on my master cylinder and then I'm using my line lock, my brake lights will go off. So if I'm running somewhere where I'm not supposed to have any type of electronics or anything like that, I'm actually going to have the pressure switch on the back side of the line lock that holds my rear brakes. That way, if I'm driving normal and I use my brakes, it works. If I do a burnout with my line lock, it won't have rear tail lights because they'll be off, because I'll only be applying the front brakes. So nobody will know there. But whenever I get on both line locks, when the truck is staged and I hit the line lock button, it's going to make this valve shut flow from going back up to the master cylinder, and I'm going to put the switch on the back side of the valve. That way, when I'm on the line lock for the rear, it holds pressure and it makes my brake lights come on, so it's going to appear I'm still foot braking the vehicle. Which literally, I kind of am. It's just I'm at a disadvantage, only have one foot, so I'm letting the valve hold the pressure until I let off the huge stuff. So we need to figure out a way that I can plumb this thing. The bad thing on the plumbing was I have 1/8" pipe on this side that I have 3/8 by 24 flared fittings for. So I took one of the 1/8" pipe by 3/8 inverted flare off of the residual brake valve, and I'm going to actually install it in the top of our line lock, which will be our feed line. So this is going to be master cylinder in, is going to be the 3/8 flared. Now on the output side, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to be able to feed our line. I have a pressure switch that we need to be able to hook up to it. And then we also have the residual 2 psi valve. So I found a T, and what we're going to do is on the side of the T that already has the 1/8" pipe thread, we're going to use the MC side that says master cylinder side, and we're going to plumb it onto the T. So that means the other side right here is our out. This is what we're actually going to feed our rear brakes with. So to get us there, since that is 1/8" pipe and we need it to actually be 7/16 by 20 flared, I have an adapter that is going to take us to that. So I'm going to pop that in there, and that would look like that. Then the side for the switch will look like this. And then on this side, I'm going to put a union. So then we'll screw this male union in here. And then all this monstrosity will go on the bottom of the line lock, like so. So that's what we're going to have. It's something that looks like that. I know, crazy. It'll be all right once we get it on, you'll see. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put you on time lapse, and I'm going to go ahead and put pipe dope on all these fittings that are not flared, because they're all 8-inch MPT. So they're pipe. So I'm going to put a little pipe dope on them and snug them all in. Now again, guys, like I mentioned whenever we were putting the pipe fitting on the back of the caliper, I do not use much of this. We're not gluing this sumbitch on, we're sealing it. So I try to go a couple threads down, and I'm just going to put a small dab in one spot. And as we turn it, it's going to seal all the way around the threads. Now guys, if you're asking why I went on ahead and put the residual valve on and the outlet fitting before I put it on the solenoid, I didn't want to put a lot of stress on this. I'm already going to have to kind of snug it up whenever I put this on. I have very bad luck, and I'm not going to push it, so I just want to pre-do it because, I mean, it's safer anyway, so who cares? And as you can see, there's just a real fine bead of sealer around the inside flange there. And I mean, that's all we need. We need the thread sealed, not the outside. And we're not trying to break this, we're just trying to rotate this all the way around and get it as straight as possible, because I want these two to be parallel with each other. I know it's kind of odd, but yep. So even though this was already installed at one point on our master cylinder, it's already used the tape that's on it. So we're going to go ahead and add some new pipe dope. So there's that. All right, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and create the harness that's going to plug onto there and go into the truck. Again, I don't have wires that are labeled for a brake sensor. So what we're going to do is, I'm running coil packs on an LS motor. So these are actually pickups for a MSD crank trigger. Since I'm never going to need that, I'm going to go ahead and donate some of that to this, making sure our sleeving fits snug and it's good. So we lucked out and we just use the same sleeving. Alright guys, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our boot and go ahead and thread our wires through it and put some terminal connectors on it to put it onto our sending unit. Now, sometimes whenever you got these that have these little holes that are a pain in the ass, what I generally will do is, if you just have a seal pick, I'll run the seal pick back through it to where it's through, like that. And then if you have weather pack connector tools, if you get the ones that are extractors, like this one out, the big side of it, you take, I'm going to try to fold this down and you see it. So you see, there's my pointy end. Put that over your your seal pick, and then pull straight down on your connector. Whenever you pull down on your connector, voila, it comes through. Once you get to that point, you can then take your wire, put your wire into the pin removal tool, and then hold the boot and the wire together, pull your pin removal tool out. There's your wire. So, we're gonna do the same thing for the other side. So there are my ends. So I'm gonna roll the garment back onto itself, like so. That way to give me some room to strip these guys. And I do have a good pair of crimpers somewhere around here. I just have no clue where they are at the moment. So now what we're gonna do is, since these are actually just going to a switch, and basically what it does is whenever the switch switches, we have a wire that it's completing, continuity to. So it doesn't matter which one's what. So that's good. So what we're gonna do, we'll go ahead and take our terminal, slide it on down, and I have a flat side and a raised side, and we'll try to put it to where both flat sides are close to each other. You want to kind of cheat and make sure your wires have a good connection, everything's cool with it. You can go ahead and go to your other end. And I strip both sides off. I'm going to go ahead and twist them together. Then using a meter, if you put the meter on continuity, then you can just touch one side and go to the other. I don't know if y'all can make that out. Well, I'll try to hold this like this. So, shows we got continuity, so that means our wiring job was good. Now, the front side is going to be a lot easier. So, we already know this one worked because it worked on the other one. Alright guys, so the front one, the plumbing is going to be a lot easier as far as on the actual unit itself. So we're going to put a 90-degree 1/8 inch pipe thread to a 3/8-24 inverted flare on the output side. So that'll be here. On the input side, we're taking our other 2 PSI residual valve, and it's already got the pipe fitting in that one side. We removed the other one, and we're going to put a union. So we're going to put a 1/8 inch union here, and then we're going to take that and go straight into the inlet side. Alright, so that's what that guy will look like. On these guys, we're going to go ahead and put ends on them. That way it's already there and waiting. I can't afford weather pack connectors, but I do like using some that like them. I picked these guys up on Amazon. They're pretty reasonable. They work really well. I haven't had any issues with them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a female on one and a male on the other, but then that's going to make it to where whenever I do the wiring, it'll be the opposite side that hooks them together. On this one, which we're going to call our female plug, generally there's a latch here and a latch there, and it's actually just going to flip backwards. So if you pull both of them out and then flip it backwards, you got it open, and then you can do it. The male is a little bit narrower, so if you need to cheat, just get a little screwdriver or a little bit. So there you go. Now, when I put these together, I put these together a little bit different. So I'm going to show you what I do. And it's not the proper way, but it's the way I do it. There are actually 2 sets of crimps. The smaller one is going to crimp on your wire. This larger one is supposed to crimp on your gasket. I just crimp it onto the insulation port of my wire, and I'm going to show you why. Now here's where I do stuff a little bit different. I take the end of my cutters, or crimpers, sorry about that, and I catch this and I tighten that up, kind of like so. And then using the 18 to 14 gauge crimper, I'm going to catch it and I'm going to crimp it down onto the insulation of the wire itself. So this is what I'm left with. I don't know if y'all can make this out or not. Hopefully you can. Then what I do is get my connector, and depends on the brand you have as to which way these go in. So the cool thing is all you gotta do is put one in and push it, and if it doesn't lock, it doesn't lock. Okay, so this is gonna be your female side. This is gonna be your clamping side. So I'll put one pin in and I'll just push it straight forward, and it locked. Once you get it into your connector, you notice right back here, you have the holes. So then I take these gaskets and using this largest tool, you notice it's capped off. I'll put it around it and I push the gasket into the back side of the connector, and they're seated in flush. Whenever you put this lock on, that lock ends up right where your gaskets come back, and your gaskets can never come out and it can never back off, and then your pins are right where they need to be. So that guy would be ready to go. So then whenever you make the other side of the harness up, you get your male side and you just take it and voila, you're there. So we went with the female on the front, so we're going to put a male on the back. I'm going to share with y'all another tool that we're going to be using. And whenever we go to mount these guys on the firewall, instead of drilling holes and having to figure out a way to hook the nut on one side and the bolt on the other, we're going to use a tool called a thread setter. And the one that I have is from Marson Corporation. I've had it for years. Basically what it does, it looks like a glorified rivet gun, but instead of putting the rivets in on this end over here, but you actually drill a hole in the firewall, sheet metal, whatever you're doing, and you have what is called a rivet nut, and you screw it onto the end of the thread setter like this, and once it comes all the way through, you stop. You then drill, which it says for the quarter 20, we need to drill with a 3/8 drill bit. So we'll drill holes with a 3/8 drill bit. We put this thread setter in, and then you squeeze it just like putting a rivet in, and it's going to insert these threads into the firewall to where we can just use a bolt with a lock washer to adhere our line locks to our firewall. So let's get on over there and see what we're going to do. All right, guys, so I got rain in the background, so I apologize if y'all can't hear me. But what we're going to do is I went on ahead and routed my tube from the rear to the front right here, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the same spot that I have this other 8L clamp. I want to tie them together right there. Alright guys, it is pouring down rain, so I'm going to have to call it quits. So here's where we're at. Let's see if I can get this a little stabler. So that's what this guy's going to look like. And what I'll probably do is I have a rubber grommet that goes around this bar of the cage. I'll probably sneak these all in the bottom corner of that, or I'll put what's called a squeeze connector in one of these two holes and run my wiring through it. So basically what we're going to have to do is we'll have to run a brake line from here down to here. Then from this front one down out of this one across here and make a loop back and go right in there where that's pointing out. So it's not that horrible. You can kind of see it right here. But all in all, I think that looks pretty damn good. Alright guys, that's going to wrap this one up. I got to get my butt in the house and up that wheelchair ramp before it gets too wet. So please like and subscribe, and we'll finish this up next time.